Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tin Maxx. We're back with another tier list, and as you can see, this one's gonna be a little bit smaller.
Yeah,
Um,
quickie.
so which is great, short and sweet, is what we like to say, but important. And I'm actually really curious to see what our answers are going to be and if we're going to differ at all. But we're going over Disney Plus Marvel shows. There's a lot of different varieties, even though they're all Marvel, which is kind of interesting. A lot of different looks at them. So this will be fun to talk about. Yeah, I'm kind of excited.
Yeah.
What about you there, Tim?
Basically what Max said. We are gonna add to this. We are pretty sure we're gonna start reviewing these Marvel shows as they end. So like for Moon Knight, for example, once this one ends, and both of us have watched it, we'll get together, we'll talk about it, and we'll add it to the list as more Marvel shows come out. What's next? Miss Marvel, I think next month. We will
Yeah.
continue to add to this list. We're considering doing the same thing for Marvel movies, so let us know if you'd be interested in that. We already did a tier list for that, so check it out. It'll be at the end of this video or somewhere. And yeah, so this is just let's kick that off, and then we will cover the rest in the future. So we're not gonna do Moon Knight tonight because it hasn't finished, but I'm liking
No.
it so far. So anyway,
But there is a hippopotamus.
there is a hip.
Just,
That reminds me, spoilers for just all of these.
oh,
Blanket
sorry.
spoilers.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I don't think anyone's really gonna know what that means.
What that
Like
is.
that's a
What that is.
spoiler, but they're not. You're not gonna figure out what he's talking about.
You would
That's
have
why
to
I'm
be a
saying that.
hardcore fan. And if you're a hardcore fan, you're probably already watching it right now. So
Did you get to that far,
uh
or did you just see
no.
that? Oh, okay.
No. I got spoiled.
Dude, you gotta watch it. I'm honestly Moon Knight is kind of maybe one of my favorites. We'll get into it when it's finished if it stays good, but I'm loving it so far.
Yeah,
All right,
that's great.
first things first. I'm the realist. Let's do WandaVision, the one that kicked it off.
WandaVision.
I think one of the
Yeah.
things that's important with these shows, and we'll get to one that I don't. Well, there's two that this applies to, right? One that wouldn't
Mhm.
work as a movie, and one that would have worked better as a movie, and like we'll see like if that applies to any of these, if you know what I mean. Because like Marvel
Yeah.
movies, this Marvel MCU was built. Marvel MCU, that's redundant. The MCU was built on movies, so
Totally.
I think an important thing to consider when we're talking about these shows is if they work better in the longer episode format. Just
Mhm.
want to get that out there because WandaVision absolutely would not have worked as well as a movie. It
100%.
just wouldn't. The television format not only played into the creation of the show, the format for the show, it was literally a part of the show that it was a
Yeah.
show. And yeah, if you guys missed watching this week to week when it first released, then you really missed out because it was insane watching this as it came out and like the theories that came out, and it just I don't know, I think it was fantastic.
Yeah,
What do you think?
incredible. I mean, overall, it was just so much fun especially when you have. I agree 100%. Couldn't definitely would have been worse as a movie because of the progression and they played right into that it was a TV show, and like you said,
The
but
different like TV openings from every era and the era jumping. Like you start with like the
yes,
50s and 60s and you go to like the 70s.
so good.
Even like Malcolm in the Middle and Modern Family by the last episode that wasn't
Love
just in the real world. I don't know.
it.
It definitely wouldn't have worked
And
otherwise.
like just the story itself, the story and plot itself in this was really good. But I think you needed that build up, which you wouldn't have been able to get in a quick. Honestly, it's weird when you say a quicker movie, but when you think of these TV shows, I mean, there are 30, 45, and sometimes an hour long episodes. So like it is
It is
longer runtime
significantly
than like
longer.
what a movie would have been.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about that with like Moon Knight because the Moon Knight episodes have consistently been with credits about 45 to 50 minutes long. And just two episodes is almost a whole movie. And we're four episodes in. And that applies to basically all of these. I think WandaVision, a lot of the episodes were shorter at first, but still. And also, just another thing that really helped WandaVision and why it deserved to be a TV show is kind of the building and the unraveling of the mystery about what exactly was going on and who was exactly behind it, with the eventual reveal, like I said, blanket spoilers, that it was Wanda. It also has big implications for the MCU in general, which I think is important to consider with these. Literally,
Well,
it's
especially with
going to tie
Multiverse of Madness.
directly. I
That's
was going to
wild.
say it ties directly into Multiverse of Madness, which is important. The fact that Vision is alive, kind of. he's alive, but he's not himself or whatever. That's important. So yeah. Oh, and also Monica Rambeau. She's gonna be in the Marvels movie when that comes out. So yeah, big kind of a big. They kicked it off great. So I think this is definitely one of my favorites. Does that? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm great with that. I'm great with that. I mean, if we're saying like favorite as in only one can be up there, it wouldn't be. It'd be in the like top of the good because it's not my
Do we want
favorite
to
out of
do
these.
that?
But
Okay. How
I,
about we
I don't
each
know.
have a favorite? Because I like Loki. Don't get me wrong, but if I had to pick a favorite out of the two, it would be WandaVision.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, fair enough. Well, in that case, we can both have a favorite up there
Yeah.
because
There's
I
two
mean,
of us.
let's just talk about the one that you just referenced. Loki would be the one. I know we're going a little out of order here, but Loki would be my favorite. The reason that I left Loki, and I think this could have been honestly both. It could have been a TV show and a movie. Like I think they could have probably made it a movie, but I liked having longer episodes that so that we got more story out of it. Because it really looked at the background of Loki and just expanded that character quite a bit.
Especially because like,
And
sorry, I didn't mean to
so much
interrupt. Go
fun.
ahead.
No, you're good. It was, I just think it was just so much fun, and with obviously the reveal of like the next essentially villain, it
The
was
next
I,
Thanos,
I
pretty much. At
yeah, I
least
just think it was
that's the
such a fun
theory.
like wild ride. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, it definitely will be
I think the
kind
longer
of next thing.
format helped this Loki, and part of the reason it needed to be expanded is because it is Loki, but it's not the same Loki that we've spent as much time with in the MCU. He's dead.
100%.
He's dead. Super dead. Way dead. Mega dead. This is the Loki, for those of you who don't know, who in Endgame gets to Tesseract and escapes. So it's a less developed Loki. And I do kind of feel like they kind of rushed a little bit of his story at the very beginning of the show to kind of get him closer to where he was in like Thor Ragnarok and the beginning of Infinity War. Not like glaringly horrible, but like they really skipped a lot of that to kind of get him back to
Yeah.
that spot, which is fine. But I also think that this show helped develop this different version of Loki and also showed a really new, brand new element to the MCU, which was like the time travel and the, you know,
Multiverse.
multiverse, which
Yeah.
has obviously come up a lot since then with both Spider-Man and Doctor Strange being directly about the multiverse. And
Yeah.
this is also the only one here out of these that has officially gotten a season two. Stuff like WandaVision, I don't think is gonna get a season two. I don't think it needs a season two.
I agree.
But yeah, this one's definitely getting a season two. It's been confirmed. The
And I'm
creator
very
of
excited about
this
that.
and the showrunner of this one won't be returning, but still.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
but I mean, overall, I think Loki was just a very good show, and so I would have that one as my
A
favorite.
lot of fun
Again,
moments.
WandaVision being incredible as well, but like Loki is the show that I know it wasn't like it. I think if Loki would have been one of the first MCU like shows to come out, I think we all would say it was our favorite, if that makes sense, because we would have theorized about it the same way we did
Oh,
WandaVision.
people did.
For some reason, something I've noticed is as these shows are coming out, there's a lot less theorizing. There's a lot less like people like excited about the specific episodes, episode by episode. Like WandaVision, I remember each episode as it came out. It
There
doesn't feel like it's
was
the same anymore.
Well, I think WandaVision very much was set up to kind of do that with like you don't really know what's going on. The rest of these have a pretty straightforward premise from the beginning. And like Moon
Mhm.
Knight, one of the things I do, I'll talk about a little bit. One of the things I'm really enjoying about Moon Knight is how self-contained it is. Because obviously one of the draws of the MCU is that everything is connected and it's a world that feels like it's all together and connected. Moon Knight focuses on Moon Knight. It's not trying to like shoehorn in other elements of the MCU or other heroes. It is a Moon Knight centric story, which I'm really enjoying. So I think that's part of the reason not a lot of people are theorizing about that because like it is just Moon Knight stuff. And there are stuff to theorize about it. I'm not gonna get into it now because I don't want to spoil it for Max. Hawkeye, you saw Hawkeye, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I've watched all of
The
Hawkeye.
whole the Kingpin thing, people were like that was less of a theory and more of like, oh, that's probably definitely gonna happen, based on
Yeah.
who the characters in the show were. But yeah, I guess you're kind of right. But I do think there was a lot of theorizing going in with Loki.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but at the time, I remember when Loki first came out, people weren't nearly as like theorizing about it as much as we were WandaVision. And to your credit, that could be that WandaVision was just such a good, like captivating story that and none of us had any idea what was going on. Like personally, I don't know about you. When I was watching WandaVision, I didn't know what was going on. It was great. But I felt that same way about Loki too. You know what I mean? Until like there were certain reveals, I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know whose character was going to do what. I didn't know what was going to happen. And there were many like surprises, throughout the show. But it didn't feel like it was the same like gusto on like social media and on like different platforms like what we had with WandaVision. So again, maybe to your point that it's just saying WandaVision really good. But again, as we get
was really
later and
built
later,
on
I feel like it's just
mystery.
getting less and less.
Like WandaVision
Yeah.
was built. I think WandaVision was very much built to be like, oh hey, we want people to talk about this. We want like the things with like the weird commercials that would happen. Like how
Yeah.
does that tie in? Like the Stark toaster that's secretly a bomb or whatever. Like I think WandaVision there was a lot more to theorize. Loki there was definitely stuff to theorize, but like it was kind of a weirder, less public side of the MCU if that makes sense. Like it's the weird stuff. Like your normal typical fan isn't gonna know who Kang is, right? Like that reveal is not gonna mean much to the average MCU fan. But the stuff in WandaVision felt more like easier to grasp, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it does. Because
I
like
also think
taking over the entire town, I mean, that is like easy to grasp. And also like, what the heck?
I do think WandaVision kind of fumbled a little bit in the last episode. It wasn't the highlight of it, but I don't think that overshadows the great bits that came before it. And that reveal about the real world and like the whole explaining what's happening like 4 episodes in, it was great. I think another reason Loki wasn't as like hyped is because we kind of got a very mid show in the middle between the two, if I'm remembering the timeline correctly, which was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is the one I'm
Yes.
talking about. Like this
Could have been a movie.
could have been, probably should have been a movie. I don't think there was enough. There wasn't enough meat on these bones
Yeah.
to make it a movie.
Yeah.
To make it a show. And like,
No,
really, the only
I agree.
thing was like that one end of the episode where U.S. agent took that guy's head off with the shield. That's a
That was
cool like.
awesome.
That's a great cliffhanger. Like, oh, we're gonna stop it here. Tune in next week. But like, you could have done that in a movie, and it still probably would have had the same effect.
Totally. No, 100%. I agree with you. I think it should have been a movie. There was too much filler within it. I mean, there was too much almost they try to do too much character development, I feel
Yeah.
like, throughout it. And that it just you get to a point where you're like, there doesn't need to be any more character development for these characters that we've seen a lot of. It's not like Bucky Barnes has been in a lot of things. Like, yeah, he's going from the Winter Soldier to being just Bucky, but
He's
like,
been in as much movies as Sam at this point. They both
yeah,
premiered in
like
the same movie. I think they've been in like all the same movies.
yeah. And so unlike honestly like WandaVision, where Wanda, we get a little bit here and there, but like Wanda, we haven't gotten a ton. And same thing with Vision. You know what I mean? Like they both have been in movies, but they don't usually get a lot of character development. While these two, you've had a ton because Captain America's storyline, I feel like, has been very developed, and so overall, I agree with you. I think this one should have been a movie, and that honestly lowered it for me, and it lowered all the
And like
the exciting things that did happen.
it also just meant like the villain was very like mishandled because like they wanted you to sympathize because like if you actually think about it, the villain of the show had a good cause, which was like people who returned from the blip were basically being screwed over and like refugees weren't getting what they need. Like it was a good message, but then like 3 or 4 episodes in, they have her blow up a bunch of innocent people just to remind you that she is a bad guy, which is not. It was kind of out of character. It was rushed, and I
Yeah,
love the sequence at the end where Sam fully becomes Captain America and he embraces the idea of being Captain America. That suit is fantastic.
awesome,
Like it looks ripped straight
awesome.
from the comics. That whole sequence was great too. His speech was a little terrible, but I think if you had given it maybe a little bit of a bigger budget, raised the stakes a little bit, made it a movie, you could have told the same story. And like the thing is, they're doing a Captain America movie with Sam, so you're doing that anyway. Why didn't you just make this that? It could have been that, you know? I don't know.
No, I
It's fine.
agree.
I think it's
I agree. I
very
think
it's
this should
very
have been.
mid. I
I'd
think
agree.
because it's
I'd
not.
agree.
It still looks good. It has some decent fight scenes. Zemo was fun. It was nice to see him back, even though he
It was
wears
cool
his
to see.
comic book mask for all of like 5 seconds.
It
It's
still was a good. It was a good like little touch on it,
yeah.
and again, and there were that, and that's the thing. I'm thinking about the show right now. I'm like, there are a lot of moments that I did really enjoy. It just took too long to get to those moments. Like it was
And
just
they
there
were
were too
few and
many
far
times where I'm
between.
just Yeah, where I'm just sitting there like, man, this is kind of boring. And then all of a sudden something crazy happens. You're like, whoa. And then it gets kind of boring again. And it's like, there just wasn't enough to honestly
It
keep you really
definitely
engaged.
wasn't like
Don't get me wrong, I watched
WandaVision,
it
where
all, but
like as soon as I could, I was gonna watch the latest episode of WandaVision. When the
yeah,
latest
no,
episode of
exactly.
Falcon Winter Soldier came out, I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
TV, yeah.
let's not beat up the show too much. Next is What If, which was kind of, again, I think this one's another mid, and to its credit, I think that comes with the territory of being an anthology show, which is what it was. Each episode is a different universe with a different slight alteration that greatly affects things and whatever, which means very varying quality between episodes. Like I think the Chadwick Boseman is Star-Lord episode. I think that one was a lot of fun. I think
A lot
people
of
took
fun.
some of these too seriously. I love the episode where Ultron becomes Vision and basically kills everybody, even like
Yep.
just zaps Thanos real quick. Like because
Awesome.
Ultron just wasn't done justice in his movie, and Ultron's one of my favorite Avengers villains. So I
Mhm.
like that. The zombie episode was absolutely terrible and one of the worst things Marvel's ever done. I will stand by that. I hated that episode. I was so hyped for that episode, and it sucked. It was the worst one of the season. I don't care. All of them were better than that one. Okay.
The Doctor Strange one where he loses his heart instead of his hands. I loved that one. I
That one
thought
was
that was
so
really good.
good.
It made me very excited for this next Doctor Strange movie, to be
Yeah,
honest. Like it
especially
like
when that reveal happens and you see that Doctor Strange is going to be in the movie, and it looks like, as much as I hated it, zombie Scarlet Witch is going to be there, which is interesting. Maybe they can salvage the. I know. I will say this: they are. I think there was enough positive response to the episode about Marvel zombies that Disney is moving forward with a Marvel Zombies show. That's just Marvel Zombies. I think it's animated. Doesn't really make sense for it to be live action, but that is happening. So maybe that'll be better. But yeah, yeah. What was I saying? It's mid.
I think there's some good, there's some bad, and so it falls kind of in mid for What If.
The Thor party
There's
episode was kind of me.
yeah,
It was nice to
yeah, yeah,
see what Killmonger could have done outside of Black Panther in that one episode where he basically takes over Wakanda and starts a war and whatever. It was nice to have him back.
yeah,
I like Killmonger was such a good villain that was kind of underutilized, at least
yeah.
so far. He
No,
might be back.
yeah. Overall, it was just like there's some good, some mid, some bad, and so I think it falls in mid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the goods
yeah.
were good, but
Yeah, they were great. They were a lot of fun. I remember talking about What If, the What If episodes and stuff like that, and being excited for certain ones. But like the Captain Carter one was, like they
okay.
shouldn't have
This is
put that
another one that's getting a second season. I might have said this is the only one, but What If is getting a second season too?
Oh,
It's already
yeah.
in production and everything. I will also say one of the weird things about What If was the Robert Downey Jr. replacement voice.
Terrible,
It wasn't great,
terrible.
and it felt so off with how many people
Very
did
bad.
return.
Yeah, well, like
And
that's the thing. Like I know I'm sure Robert Downey Jr. would have been like expensive as heck to do just like
also, I don't even
voice
know if he
lines or whatever.
wants to at this point return.
But
Like, I
like
think he's
find
just
someone that's
done.
close or sounds like or just sounds like better. The voice actor was pretty bad. We both
Yeah.
while after watching were like that was rough. Like they should have found someone different.
Yeah, and like there
So,
was a cut episode too, the Gamora and because you see them in the finale where all the universes team up, which also like I don't think was necessary. It was cool that like Vision became like a multi-universe threat.
if the Watcher had to fight someone, that was fun.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a really cool scene. But
Mhm.
like there was that Gamora and Tony team up episode that we never got to see, which might show up in season 2. But I will also say the show was greatly affected by COVID and the restrictions and all that, so it's fine. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Next we
Yep.
have Mr. Hawkeye. I like this show. I will say I don't think it's fundamental to watch for the MCU. You could skip it and really not miss anything important. But it's fun. It was a fun ride. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like favorite, but I would say it's good. I don't think it's mid. What do you think?
I would agree. I think it's good. I would say it's on the lower tier of good, but like it's good. There were some. It was I enjoyed watching it. There were just not as many. I would say like cliffhangers that mattered, if that makes sense to me
Yeah.
as much. And so it made it where like I watched this show not instantly as it came out, and I was okay with that. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of one of those things where I was like, I was watching it, I'd watch a couple episodes, and then I wouldn't come back to it for like a week, 2 weeks, you know, and
Yeah.
then watch a couple more episodes.
Well, I
And
think
it just it just didn't keep me like reeling back in.
it's a good
However,
one
I
to
think the
binge.
character development was really good.
Yeah, this is the first time I've actually liked Hawkeye in any of these.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. I think that's fantastic casting, and I think she was so funny. This was a funny show. It had a lot of really funny moments.
Yeah.
It was cool that they gave like a conclusion to the Ronin story. I think it was. It also showed some really interesting aspects, like the fact that his hearing is going because of all the years of avenging. I thought that was really neat and that really well done. The
Really
Rogers
cool.
musical was stupid,
Hilarious.
but it's
Hilarious.
interesting to see like what those events looked like from inside. Like the fact that Ant-Man was there, but he wasn't actually there. I did see a theory that says somebody saw Ant-Man in Endgame when they went back to the past, and that's why they thought he was there. So that's neat. I don't know
Oh,
how if that was the intention or not, but that's
I
cool.
like it.
Oh, and also before Spider-Man No Way Home, spoilers for that movie. It's been spoiled by now for everyone. This was actually the first time we saw a Netflix character move over to the MCU. Kingpin was there at the end. Maybe the same version. It's kind of hard to tell at this point. He definitely seems more superhuman than Kingpin in the old Daredevil show because he literally gets hit by a car and just stands up.
I mean, the Kingpin and Daredevil was pretty
Yeah, but not that. Like,
different too.
I think the Kingpin in Daredevil was a little bit more grounded. This one seemed like, oh yeah, this is a comic book, whatever. Maybe it's just my.
I don't know, like almost like an entire story of a house fell on Kingpin in Daredevil, and he kept going.
I might not have gotten that far. I don't think I ever watched.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, Kingpin's nuts. I mean, he's nuts, and I will say that was something that actually kind of annoyed me was Kingpin in Daredevil talks about how like he'll punch someone and like break all the bones by one punch, and with Haley Steinfeld in that fight, I thought they actually didn't do Kingpin justice because it was like a fight that was like if she would have came in, you know, like was getting creamed or whatever and like bleeding and like couldn't do anything, and then the car got hit and he's like out or something like that, and then she like does the bow, that would have made more sense. But when they were fighting, it just didn't make any sense because like according to like Daredevil, like it was like he has like superhuman strength essentially, and Haley Steinfeld is just a girl in the show. Like that's what she is. She's just a girl, and like which is awesome in the sense like it's good, but like it made that fight not mean nearly as much for me, to be honest. So like it wasn't as cool as what a lot of other people thought, but that's just me.
Couple miscellaneous things about the show. What did you think of like the Black Widow, the sister showing up and kind of the wrap up to that? What did you think of that? I haven't seen.
Yeah, I think she was a lot.
Probably never will, but
yeah, so the Black Widow movie is terrible. I'm just gonna be honest. It's not very good. Also, have you seen? Okay, you shouldn't watch the Black Widow movie, but you should watch the shots of like where it's the green screen is so bad, and it's like if this is a multi-million-dollar movie, how can you have it look so terrible? But anyway, so Black Widow is not great, and so overall, her character in the movie, I was kind of like meh about. This show actually helped me like the character a little bit more.
I haven't seen Black Widow, so I kind of disliked her. Her and Haley should team up for something because they had such great chemistry when they were on screen together.
I agree 100%.
Where, like, she's trying to chase after Hawkeye and Haley's like Kate is stopping her, and they have this little back and forth, and like it's really
while
funny.
fighting.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Great. Yeah.
Also, just like,
sorry, I actually saved that for me. No, you're good. I was just gonna say it actually saved her character for me.
Yeah,
in the sense like I think if she wouldn't have been in, it wouldn't have been as good.
Also, yeah, I agree. Not that I've seen Black Widow, but still. Also, that scene where she comes back from being blipped, pretty cool. Kind of get to see it because we saw it in WandaVision with Monica, but like this was kind of a different version where like we see it from like her perspective, where like she's there and then all of a sudden the walls change and it's 5 years later. I thought that was neat.
That's super neat.
Also, there was like one more thing.
It's almost terrifying to think about. Like, imagine all those people just showing up and the chaos. I think they need to show more of like the chaos that happened, because this is the thing. If let's say I own my house, and if all of a sudden I disappear and I come back, someone's living here, what's going to happen? Are we sharing the house? No,
I
I'm
don't mean
guessing not.
to backtrack too much, but like the Falcon and Winter Soldier, that was another thing that was kind of like addressed, but not really. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we hear about it, but we don't really see that much of the struggle of the people. So it's something that probably should have been more shown than told. Um,
totally.
and yeah, no, I think as much as it sucks, I think we're gonna kind of move past the blip in a lot of ways, especially
You're
now
right.
that like we're actually coming up. Like 2023 is when Endgame takes place, so
Mm-hmm.
we're almost caught up with the timeline of Endgame. So they won't really
Crazy.
need to even like it won't be the future anymore. It'll just be the present. A lot
That's
of
crazy.
yeah, I just don't think they're gonna really address it too much more going forward. I think we've kind of gotten what we're getting from it. Maybe with like character like the Black Widow thing, whatever her name is, the new Black Widow. We'll get
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, like a certain character's perspective on it or coming back from it or whatever. But I don't think we're gonna get anything that really addresses it because it's
Mm-hmm.
a really hard thing to address. Remember
Yeah.
when
No, you're
Far
totally
From
right.
Home came out after Endgame and like the blip is just played for jokes the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like it starts off with the scene where they're all coming back and playing basketball and like the band appears and run into each other and the one guy's wife pretended to blip and whatever. I don't think we're gonna get anything serious about the blip. And
I
same
think
thing with
you're
like
right.
if you've seen Shang-Chi, it's I don't think mentioned like at all. Maybe like once or twice, but again, I just think they're gonna move
Past
on.
it.
It's a hard thing to
I
really.
think you're right, but I think to that point, that is a missed opportunity, in
Oh,
my
for
opinion.
sure. I think they
That's
aimed
I
a
mean,
little too high, and I'm glad they did because it was like actual consequences for stuff that happened. Like people lost 5 years of their lives, but
yeah.
also like just the actual real world logistics of half of the population disappearing for 5 years. That's like, how do you actually address that in like a
Well,
realistic
that's
way?
production would be down. There would be, I mean, there'd be famines. There would, I mean, it would be
It'd be a
rough.
big deal,
I
and I
mean,
think they just kind of would be like, well, ignore all the actual details. It's over. It's fine. The Avengers saved the day. Don't think about it too
there's people
much.
blowing stuff up. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but yeah, good tier for Hawkeye
Yeah.
is where I
Oh
think
yeah.
that should go.
I forgot what we were doing.
And no, you're good. And then we're not talking about Moon Knight because it's not done yet. Once it is done, we will come back and add it
I'm
to the tier list.
loving it, for the record.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I'm
really
excited.
hope they do more with it. But yeah, no, this is it so far. Nothing that's been straight up bad or trash. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good sign.
there's been an episode that was trash, right? Of What If?
Yeah, the zombie episode. That's like freaking down here. I didn't mean to call the person who made this tier list trash. For
Yeah,
the record, I'm sorry.
yeah. And I honestly, I think that shows why both of the shows that are in mid is because they do both have episodes that are kind of trash. But overall, you should watch the show like they're good, like
Yeah,
mid. You know,
I think What If is still like it's at least worth visiting to see kind of the weird and different multiverse things. I always love multiverse stuff, which
yeah,
is part of the reason why What If was kind of a disappointment, but also they did
yeah.
some cool stuff with it too.
Yeah, well, especially before the next Doctor Strange movie comes out, I think that just show you like you got to watch, and and then obviously Falcon and Winter Soldier, you have to watch that for the next progression, of the Marvel movies,
I mean, I
because
think
if
you
you
can
don't watch
honestly
that,
skip it. Sam is Captain
really,
America. That's really all you need to know.
I think the storyline of that basically like the what are the it's not the evil Avengers, but you got know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
What is that team called?
Thunder Thunderbolts.
So,
Is that
something like
DMC?
that.
Whatever. The Dark
Yeah,
Avengers.
but
Whatever they're doing
yeah,
with that.
whatever they're doing with that storyline is what's hit in the Falcon Winter Soldier, and that's the storyline that I wanted more of in that show
But
that
even
they
then,
didn't
like the only real
really
hint to
touch on.
that is like the chick from Friends showing up and recruiting John at like the end of the last episode. Like that is really the only tie into that. It's the same as that
Yeah, I
end
feel like
credit
there was
scene for
one other. There were a couple. There were a couple scenes with her and John.
Oh, okay.
It
I
wasn't
don't
just that
remember.
one,
It was a mid show.
but
All right, I forgot a lot of it.
yeah,
Real quick,
but
what Marvel show are you looking forward to most? That's coming out next. There's a
I mean,
bunch.
Loki is in my favorite, so I'm excited for Loki season 2.
That one might still be a ways
Uh,
out.
I know.
Well, we got
Um,
Armor Wars is happening.
which
Secret
I'm very excited about.
Invasion, Miss Marvel, which I'm on the fence about because I want to like it, but they changed her powers and I'm kind of mad about it. Yes, I am one of those
Mhm,
people. They ruined it.
mhm.
That's all I'm gonna say. She's Green Lantern now for some reason. Um, what else? They're doing Ironheart, which will kind of be the new Iron Man, which I think will be really interesting because I don't know. I think the really
So
toxic part of Marvel fans are gonna hate that.
well, that's the thing. I think I'm the most excited for Ironheart because man, that's going to be tough. It's going to be like I'm most excited for it because if it's good, it's going to be good. If it's bad, it's going to be that might
I
be in the
think even if
trash.
it's good, there's gonna be so many people who call it trash because it's
I don't know. I think if it's
it's
actually
the toxic people. I just want to put that like it's
there's toxic
the
people all
people
these
that hate
shows though.
everything. Yeah,
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 yeah.
hate anything.
But like I mean I think that that one's going to have the most risk involved as far as in like it's either we're both going to either come after that show and be like, dude, that's a good show, or it's going to be like,
I don't know. We might feel
yeah,
two different ways about it because I don't care about Iron Man. So like, if they mess with like the Iron Man story, I'm not gonna give. I don't care.
that's the thing. I'm okay with them messing with the Iron Man story as long as it's good. Like
Well, I don't
I
even
don't
think
care. Like
they necessarily have to. For anyone who doesn't know, Ironheart is kind of like an Iron Man protege. It's what's her name, Riri Williams or something. I don't know. She's basically a genius teenager, college age girl. I don't exactly know who builds her own Iron Man suit and kind of becomes a new version of Iron Man. And presumably the show will follow the same thing. And there's the odds that she becomes the MCU's new Iron Man or like the Young Avengers version of Iron Man. There's a lot of
mhm,
directions they could take the character, but
yeah.
Iron Man is what started the MCU, so they kind of have to nail this.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's either like you even just said that. You just said that. So I think
Yeah,
it's either
you're
going to
right.
be either really good or it's going to be trash. And so we'll see. So maybe that's the show that I'm most excited about. What about you?
Miss Marvel. I really
Yeah.
like Miss Marvel. I made a comics for casuals about her. It's like the second one I ever made.
Mhm.
I think she's a great character, and I want it to be good. I just
Yeah.
hate that they changed her powers, and like they give a lot of reasons, like oh it doesn't look good in CGI, and oh Mister Fantastic has to come first or whatever. Still, you made it worse. Unless they
Yeah.
didn't, it could be good. I don't know.
We'll see.
Most of the MCU changes, besides the Mandarin, have been good, and even then they fixed that eventually. So,
Man,
all
I'm
right.
so bad.
Let us know down below what you think of these shows, what show you're excited for. I know there's definitely more than what I named. Echo from Hawkeye is getting a spin-off show. Probably will bring Kingpin back. We'll presumably get something from Daredevil at some point, whether it's a movie or a show. Could be a show again. Who knows? Let us know in the comments what you want and what you think. Max,
Yeah.
say the end it.
Yeah, so guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It actually does really help out the channel. We appreciate all the support we can get, and also we really do enjoy looking at your guys' comments. If you guys don't know, we comment back on every single thing that you guys say, and it's because we actually do read every single comment and actually really enjoy it. And it makes both of our days. So if you guys do have like an opinion on any of these shows, let us know down below. And again, please subscribe. It really, really helps out. So we will see you guys next time. I'm Max. That's Tin. See you later.